Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and honeygirlsworld.com, and happy new year. I know that it is already February and I should have came in January to tell you guys happy new year, but January was awesome. It was very go, but we did wonderful things, my family and I. So, I'm really just trying to get back in the groove of things and get going again. And so I wanted to go ahead and share a few things with you. One of the things I want to talk about, or the main thing I want to talk about in this video, is our trip to Disneyland and Disney California Adventure during COVID, in the middle of a pandemic, as well as, the brand new release for Genie Plus and a number of different things. So if you're interested about hearing about our little trip and so much more, then definitely keep on watching. Hey guys, so as I said in the intro, I'm going to be chit-chatting with you guys a little bit about some of the adventures my family and I had experienced in the month of January. Yes, I know it's February, but we are going to chit-chat about a few things. And there's a lot of things I wanted to talk about. We experienced so many awesome adventures in January, but one of the things I definitely wanted to touch base on was our adventures at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. The last time I attended any Disney park was at Disney World, and it was probably about 17 years ago. So it was a really long time, and the boys they're all at a time in their life, at the age where they can remember, make memories, and experience all those things. When they're babies, you kind of gotta switch out. You can't ride on any rides, or you have to take turns and so forth. So for us, we really wanted to make this an experience that they would remember, as well as a number of different things. And I had the opportunity to go to Disneyland this year, so in January, during my birthday. So it was an awesome birthday for number 42. I'm so excited. I really enjoyed myself. So I figured I would share not just our experience and so forth, but a lot of different things. First of all, if you are a Spirit jersey type person, I am so in love with this. You guys know I love all things iridescent, and it's like a lilac purple pink color. I'm in love. I love my ears. They match with it. I did go ahead and make ears to take with us. So I'll go ahead and show those and share them with you. I made 2 pairs of ears before I went, and then we got there, and while I was wearing one pair, I looked at them and I told my husband, oh my gosh, I need that pair. And I was talking about this one. I am so in love with this. I would wear this every day. Those of you that live near Disney, if you don't have Magic Keys or season passes, please get them, because I would be at Disney every day. It truly, to me, is the happiest place on earth. I've always loved it, and it was awesome to experience that with my children, as well as my husband. And it's just awesome. But anyway, I'm going to show you my ears. This might be a long video. Oh my goodness, my hair is such a mess. So this is the one thing about the sequence on this particular one that got in my hair. But oh well. So if you guys seen any photos or anything like that of me at California Adventure, or even the first day at Disneyland, I had these on. So I made these, and I got my little Raiders thing going on here, and it's sequence, so you can actually flip the sequence up. It's like that double side sequence. But so I used this the first day, California Adventure, and I just made these, you know, like a DIY kind of deal. It sits a little higher. The bow is a little different, but I was still absolutely loving it. So this is one that I made myself before we went on the trip. And if you've been following me on social media, you may have seen that we actually went to Las Vegas before we got to California. So we went to the Raiders game, and that is why I decided to opt in for that. I also made me kind of a mermaid inspired one, but I did not use this particular one for some reason or another. And it's likely because I fell in love with the other one. And this one is super, super poofy. It's not flat. And that's what it looks like here. So I made this, and they're just going to go in my collection. You know, the last time that I went to Disney World, again, like I said, was years ago. And they really didn't have Minnie Mouse ears like this. It was the mini cap that you would wear, and then you could get it like embroidered. They still do that, but now there's ears everywhere. So, you know, and then of course, you guys know I'm a huge Winnie the Pooh fan. So I did get me a pair of Pooh ears. I still have the tags on it because I didn't use this at the parks. I bought it on the last day, and I just see the little honeybee right there. Absolutely love this. But that's what I picked up, or that's the ears that I made, and then the ones I picked up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my pretty ones on because I love these. Okay, so enough with that. Now we're gonna chit chat about basically going to Disneyland pretty much in the middle of a pandemic, on top of being in the middle of winter. I'm having a corresponding blog post for this, so if you guys are interested, I'll put the link down below. I'm actually in the process of writing it right now, so it'll likely be released at the same time. But again, as I stated, we went to Vegas, or Las Vegas, and we were there for 5 days, and then we drove from Las Vegas to Anaheim. We actually went to Universal City and Universal Studios Hollywood, which I will actually touch base on in another video likely, but we stayed in Anaheim for the 5 days. So while we were there, we went to let's see, Disney California Adventure Park first. We spent 1 day there, and then 2 days at Disneyland. Prior to arriving, we went to purchase our tickets online and everything of the sort. And now, because of COVID and a number of different reasons too, I'm sure they do require that you make reservations. So you can't just buy your admission tickets and show up as you have in years past. You actually have to make your reservations ahead of time. So that's something you want to think about. If you're purchasing online, you can purchase your tickets and book your reservations, choose your dates that you want to go at the same time, which is what we did, obviously, because we are from out of state. But anyone that's purchasing from a travel agent or anything along those lines, you want to ensure that you are also booking your reservations, because if you show up without them, you're likely not going to be able to be allowed in the park. So it's not like before. And I'm sure that those with season passes, magic passes, or anything like that, you need to go and take a look at as well. Now, we went for a family of 5, which is, if you've been following my channel a while, you know it's me, my husband, and our 3 sons. All of which, the twins are now 12 years old. My oldest was 17 at that time. He just celebrated a birthday. But essentially, they were all adult rates or general admission. So we had to go ahead and pick that out. We opted to do a multi-park, but not a park hopper ticket. The reason being is we knew that we had 3 days there to spend at Disney, and we wanted to ensure that we were not rushing to go from one to the other. We knew approximately how big California Adventure was, and that we could get it in all in 1 day. And then Disneyland, since it was larger in our opinion and we wanted to experience more things, we did that for 2 days. So we opted for, again, the 3-day package multi-park, and you select what park you want to go to. The park hopper was just not something that we were really interested in, as I stated before. We also paid for the extra Genie Plus service. Now, if you are going to Disney, you get regular Genie through your Disneyland or Disney app, which you will need to download if you are, you can do your tickets that way and scan them at the gate. You can do Lightning Lane and use that to scan and choose out your rides, as well as reservations and everything else. But if you opt for Disney Plus, which is an added service, it's an additional $20 per day per person on top of your normal tickets. So we did go that route, and for those 3 days, the 5 of us, plus Genie Plus, we were looking, or our price point, the amount of money that we bought for our tickets came up to just under $2,000. I'm not putting any of this out here to brag. It is something that my family and I had been working towards to go, and we wanted to take the boys. Plus my husband, he's always been that person that makes dreams come true. So, it was something that we were saving for and working towards, but it is a hefty cost for 3 days. Now, would I take it back? Absolutely not. As I stated, I love Disneyland. I love Disney World. They are the happiest place on earth. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. And if I was living in the States and it was readily available, I would likely have season passes, because I would live there. Seriously. Although I've had many cast members tell me last month that, the grass is always greener. And I'm like, okay, but, what are you going to do? So you're looking at, that's how much we spent with Genie Plus included. Now, honestly, is Genie Plus worth it for whatever reason or another? And I will tell you, because we were traveling from out of state, or all the way from Hawaii. We weren't even just out of state, but we are coming from Hawaii. And airfare is extremely costly. We wanted to make sure that we got the entire experience, and the boys and my husband and I could ride and take part in the attractions without having to worry all that much. So yes, I definitely think if you have a short amount of time, which we did, we only had 3 days, Genie Plus is definitely worth it, in my opinion. I will tell you that there is a process of things that you need to do, but honestly, it wasn't just the rides that sold us. Genie Plus, it has replaced the old Max Pass and Fast Lanes. So now you have Lightning Lane, you have virtual queue, you have all of those kinds of things that I didn't have when we went to Disney World years ago. But the conveniences are there. Now, another thing that you want to take into consideration is you also get PhotoPass with Genie Plus. So what is PhotoPass? I'm not sure if it is something new or if it is specifically for Genie Plus, but I do know when we went to Disney World years ago, we spent hundreds of dollars paying for our photos every single time we went to a different attraction. So when I took picture with Winnie the Pooh, we had to pay for a photo if we wanted to do that, and we wanted to utilize the photos that they were taking. If we wanted to get a photo off of a ride, we paid for that as well. And it added up really quickly. Each photo was like $18.99, $20. And it becomes a really hefty cost. Now, mind you, this was years ago, so things could have changed. I'm not too sure what it was like outside of that time frame, but I do know that it added up for memories, and it's something you want to have photos on certain rides and so forth. So, we utilized that service back then. With Genie Plus, when I was booking our tickets, it said that PhotoPass was included, which essentially means that any place that you go throughout the park, that there is a PhotoPass cast member there. Usually you'll see them, it'll say PhotoPass, or there'll be a sign with a camera, and you have that option to stay there and take pictures. And I'll try to put some photos that we utilized there. So, different locations, they have set schedules of when the photos are going to be available. You can walk up to there or stand in line, take your photo, and then you can go ahead and have them scan your code in your app, your Genie Plus or Genie Disney app, and it'll show up in the app where you can download it for free. And they are actually really good high resolution images that I've been able to download. And so we were able to get photos from different rides and so forth, and really just have the opportunity to have these memories. For me, it was a really big deal because normally my husband or I are taking the photos. We can't be in there as all 5 of us as a family unless we set up a tripod and we set the timer. And sometimes, one, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so you don't want to be standing in one place for long periods of time. 2, you got to get things just right. It was nice to have these options. So we tried to utilize PhotoPass at both parks to try to get and maximize that benefit. If I have to be honest, the PhotoPass paid for itself tenfold. We got photos at night with the castle, with Sleeping Beauty's castle in the background. We got different photos at the different parks where they actually superimposed, different objects. So like we went to Cars Land and they put a car in there, just a number of different things. And everybody that took our photos was extremely nice. The cast members overall were just really awesome. Now, again, like I said, that was a plus for me. But you also get photos from different attractions or rides that you ride that have the photos included. So Incredicoaster, let's see, what is the other one? Cars, a few others. We have had several others. Basically, anyone that takes your photo, and then as you exit the ride, they have the screens up where you can take the number down. You can go ahead, take the number down, input it into the app, and you will have the photo there instead of having to buy individually. There's a kicker to that, however. Due to COVID and mask mandates, all rides require you to have a mask. So you may see your photo when you exit, but if anyone in your photo is not wearing their mask, the mask fell down. I mean, you're riding some pretty hefty rides, so the mask can actually fall, which happened to my son. His mask fell down below his nose as he was screaming, I guess. I'm not too sure, but any time an image has someone in there or people in there where the mask is not on for any reason, they black out the image. So you'll see it. You will see the image when you're exiting. You can take down the code, but when you go to try to input it into the app, it'll never show up no matter how much you refresh, which happened to us on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, which I really, really wanted. And what I was, doing was, so that I didn't have to enter the number in right then and there, I would take a picture of the screen so that I would have the number and I could enter it in. And I didn't know why the Guardians of the Galaxy ride was the first ride I realized that had happened. Obviously, in Guardians of the Galaxy is very similar to Hollywood Tower of Terror, which is my only thing that I could compare it to, because that's what I rode at Disney World. And, you have 15 or more people in that particular seat that are not part of your party, and 2 people in the back were actually not wearing their masks at all. They took it off completely. So, you know, because of that, when I entered the code, it never showed up in my PhotoPass queue. Now, I realized that and started trying to take the photos of the screen better, because when I took that, I was just thinking of the number, took it at an angle. So it's not something that I could really print or anything like that. It's like a really odd angle. It's blurry. I just wanted the number, but I tried to be more knowledgeable afterwards to know that, okay, take a good picture of their screen when I exit the attraction so that I will have that to, you know, look back on in the case anyone in that attraction didn't have a mask. And again, it happens where some people are just stubborn and they just don't want to wear their mask because honestly, they're entitled. Like, let's be real. And then you have people, like I said, like my son, where either he was screaming or something, but his mask like dropped just as they went to take the photo. And because of that, we didn't get that image. And it, again, it happens. So my number one biggest advice for you is to get a good picture of that screen so that in the case it doesn't load, you have that. I tried discussing it with a cast member about whether or not, you know, that's not fair. This is my family. They all have masks on. We don't know these people, but it's out of their control. There's not much that they can do about it. So be prepared, take your picture, get it good. Because there's like 1 or 2 pictures where, like I said, I took it at an angle, not thinking, because I just wanted the number code and that's all I got, but it happens. So those are things you want to think about. But Genie Plus not only gives you the photo pass, it also gives you the opportunity to utilize the lightning lane. Now, some cool aspects to lightning lane. You utilize the app to go ahead and check in for whatever ride you want. So say, for example, I want to ride Guardians of the Galaxy and it has lightning lane available. It'll give you different times. So depending on the wait times, you look at the app, it'll tell you, yes, you can do it within the next 10 minutes, or you have 2 to 4 hours. In some cases, one ride actually was almost 5 hours ahead of time that you had to book. So those are things that you want to think about. What my family and I did was check in for something we wanted to ride that was available right then and there. And then after we scanned our lightning pass or our lightning lane through, which is your app, then we would go ahead and book our next one knowing how long it would take. And lightning lane took anywhere, I would say, from directly walk right onto the ride to maybe 10 to 12 minutes of a wait, depending on how busy they were. But it was quick. I will tell you that the reason why we went that route to book is because once you book a lightning pass, so say for example, I wanted to ride Guardians of the Galaxy and it's 9 o'clock in the morning, but the next lightning pass is not available till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Make sure you have something to do within that time frame, because you cannot book another lightning pass until 1, you checked in for 1 ride, or 2, within 2 hours of booking 1. So there's something you want to think about to schedule accordingly. The first day we went, it took a little bit of maneuvering and kind of figuring out how to make it work for us. But then the second and third day, it actually became much more simple for us to do. So again, like I said, we would book something that would be immediate. Depending on where it was on the park, we would book in advance after we scanned our lightning pass, so we were good to go. We did that within the times when we were eating and so forth, so it was worth it. Now, Genie Plus lightning lane doesn't or isn't always available for everything. Most rides or attractions do have them, but that doesn't mean that it is available or working that day. Sometimes they only have standby, which is you got to wait in line. Sometimes they'll put the lightning lane available for you to book. It just depends. You have to search the app each day. You also have the queue that you can go on, which is for rides like Webslingers, Rise of the Resistance, and the Cars ride. You can also pay for your Lightning Pass for those, which will be anywhere from $7 to $20 depending on the day, depending on the time. So you would pay for that individual ride to go on to use that Lightning Lane. We didn't pay for any of those, and a lot of them did not have the early queue available for us to book. So we stood in line for those 3 specific rides. And it was long. It was 90 minutes to 2 hours worth of time to stand in line and wait. I will tell you that Rise of the Resistance, I would stand in that line over and over and over again. That ride is awesome. It is a great experience. My family enjoyed it and it was awesome. Absolutely. If you only have limited time, buy the ticket for that one, for the Lightning Lane, and ride it as many times as you can. The line moved extremely fast and they take a lot of people. I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but I will say the experience was awesome. We went through the entire thing, or even before we went through the entire thing, it was just the beginning and I was like, this ain't worth it. Well, let me tell you, it just wasn't done yet. It is a really, really good attraction. Absolutely loved it. Cars. That one, we were there, we thought we would be good because we went later in the day, like late. It was like the sun was down already for quite a few hours, I want to say, and by the time we got on, it was probably about 7:30. It was the last one we did for California Adventure. It was so fun, but it was a really long line. Would we pay for that? I don't know. Knowing how long we waited in line, maybe. But it was really fun. We enjoyed it, and I would re-ride that over and over again. I don't know that I would pay, and I don't know I would stand in line, so it's kind of depending on how I'm feeling that day. Rise of the Resistance, I would pay. Now, Webslingers. It was okay. We waited 2 hours about for that line as well because I refused to pay. Call me cheap. I don't know. But I didn't want to pay for it, so we waited in line. And I will tell you that it is a cool and cute experience, but that ride needs way more. And I know it's a new attraction, which is likely why they don't have Lightning Pass and all that stuff available for it. But I think it's a little more hyped up than it should be. And I was kind of underwhelmed. When it was all said and done, it was okay. I wasn't planning to ride it back again. And when it was all said and done, I was like, oh, 2 hours we wasted doing that. The good thing is that we ate, we talked story, we make our time useful when we're standing in line. So that's that. So, those 3 attractions, you can't necessarily book with Genie Plus unless you're planning to pay for the individual Lightning Lane, or if you can get on the queue, which we weren't able to. It wasn't available the 3 days that we were there. So that's something you want to take into consideration when you're doing that. I will tell you, Rise of the Resistance, again, worth spending the money for. Absolutely. I think so. I love that thing. Love it. Okay, let's see what else. So Genie Plus is an extra $20 per day per person, as I stated earlier. I think it definitely is worth it for the price of photos alone. You get the digital photos, which you get to download, and again, absolutely worth it. So, Genie Plus, I think definitely if you have a short amount of time, utilize the service, because for us, it worked in our favor and it worked awesome. There were a few glitches and stuff like that for the most part with the app, but we were able to do the things that we wanted to and get a lot done in very little time. Again, we only had 3 days. 1 day was booked at California Adventure. 2 days were booked at Disneyland. So we wanted to make sure that we had that time frame available to be able to move through rides and redo any rides that we wanted to. So with Genie Plus, you get Lightning Lane for once for each ride. So since we went to Disneyland 2 days in a row, we could re-ride the rides again, which was really good because like the boys loved riding Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, and a number of different things we were able to redo again. So, definitely something to look at and take into consideration if you are there for a short amount of time or you have family that's not been there before or anything along those lines. Okay, so we traveled in January and a lot of the attractions started shutting down for their winter rental on January 10th. We arrived on January 13th at Disney California Adventure, the 14th and 15th at Disneyland. So since I had looked at the calendar already, I knew that there were a number of different things that we would have to be prepared for. One of them is because of the weather, oftentimes the nightly fireworks show does get canceled. You still have the night light show, which is, happens. It's basically the same every night, but the fireworks are canceled. So we missed out on fireworks the entire time we were there. The photo that I put over here was actually superimposed the fireworks there because they did not happen that night, but I couldn't help but putting it in there. So that is something you need to think about. But also some of the attractions had closed down. Let's see here. Haunted Mansion, the the Holiday Edition ran all the way, I believe, until January 9th. And then it closed on January 10th, which was a few days before we got there. And Splash Mountain also closed. Which were, there were two attractions I really wanted the boys to experience because that was attractions that I absolutely loved when I went, but ultimately they were closed, and that's okay. We rode Matador and a number of other ones to kind of make up, although Haunted Mansion definitely is a good one to go to. They were closed, but there's not too much we could do about them. I know that the Finding Nemo attraction, I don't know if it was there before and it's under renovation or if it's being built, but that was also not open. And a few others were completely closed down. But ultimately, there was still more than enough to take advantage of the time that we were there. And I'm very, very thankful for that. So that's something you want to think about as well. We also traveled during the winter months, not only because we were already going to Las Vegas and we were there, but also I was looking at the weather and how things were. Now, when we went to Disney World, it was July and Florida and funky humidity and lightning storms. And again, that was 17 years ago. So maybe things change. I highly doubt it. Florida doesn't change. But I wanted to make sure that we would be comfortable and not hot and yuck. And January is a great time to go. Now, mind you, we are in the middle of a pandemic, so the crowds are not as hefty as I'm sure it normally would be. We didn't experience anything but just a little drizzles, which was good. And we were able to stay in leggings or jeans with a light sweater or hoodie and stay pretty okay for the most part for those few days. So, definitely a great time to go. You can get in all of your walking without feeling so dehydrated or hot or sticky. So we really enjoyed the weather there. It was nice and cool. I think at the highest it got was about 65 degrees. For the most part, it was in the 50s, and yes, I was cold, but we were loving it because it was comfortable weather. So that's something you want to think about if you're looking at booking at that time. Even I think February might be a good time because it's still cool. Majority of the holiday Christmas decor came down just a few days before we got there. But I mean, Disneyland was Disneyland and it was beautiful. So, you know, definitely something along those lines. Now, while things may have changed over the course of the last month, because it's been almost a month since we've been there, they are taking certain things into account for COVID protocol and so forth. Now, mind you, you know, Omicron was pretty much surging all over. I know it was here in Hawaii when we left. So I will tell you that while we did have our vaccine card and it was talking about having vaccines and all that kind of stuff, when we booked our tickets, it was not required for us to enter the park, although we did have it on us. The good thing is that we really didn't eat anywhere in the restaurant, so I don't know if they required the vaccine to eat in or dine in. We kind of ordered everything on the app, which is a really good thing to do. So we don't have to wait in line. And just like the Genie Plus rides, you order on the app and then you go when it's ready, you pick up your food, and we kind of just ate along the way. There is no social distancing either in the park, in lines, or on the rides. So if that's something you're expecting, don't. It is, of course, a good thing to practice, which my family and I did. Coming from Hawaii, we still have social distancing things in place and all that kind of stuff. So when we were standing in line, I was like trying to stay 6 foot away from people, or, you know, trying to keep my distance. And it is not, it is optional, in other words. So, you know, and on rides, you sit right next to somebody. You just have to have your mask on. Like I said, all rides, you're required to wear a mask. So there is no social distancing or 6 foot social distancing, anything along those lines. And masks are optional outdoors. So anytime you go into a restaurant, a food establishment, a venue, you ride a ride, any indoor anything, you have to have a mask on. But as you're walking around the park, you don't have to. Now, my family and I wore our masks the entire time. Unless we were eating or taking a photo, we would remove them. But for the most part, we kept our masks on just because we're going from one very hefty location and coming back here to Hawaii. We don't want to be bringing back COVID. So, you know, we wore our masks and, you know, just try to social distance ourselves as much as possible. But I will tell you, it was a big awakening for us, because the mentality there is a little bit different. Everybody to each his own, which is why we wore our mask and tried to stay distant as much as possible. When you're standing in long lines for a really long time, just so you know, nobody is social distancing. They're all trying to squeeze in like sardines. So my family and I tried to kind of stay as distant as we could from everybody. But it's not an easy thing to do, but we tried. So that's something you want to think about as well. There is hand sanitizer and stuff like that throughout the park, we did notice. And for the most part, it seemed okay. We didn't have too much issues with that, so that's not too bad. Overall, the park itself was not extremely busy, as I would have thought. Now, I've had people ask me, do you think it's worth it to go during this time frame? And I'm going to tell you, yeah, I would book it. It's not as busy. Definitely now would be the time before it gets really busy, especially if you're already planning a trip. I didn't see a problem with it. They didn't ask for our vaccine cards. They didn't take any temperature checks or anything like that. So if you're expecting that, we didn't get that when we went. But overall, I think the process still wasn't too bad, and it seemed okay. So traveling during COVID, again, you make sure you have a mask, because you will be required for anything indoor or rides. And just keep in mind that some people, you know, they're going to do what they're going to do. So you just kind of got to go with the flow, right? Overall, I'm going to say that we had an absolute blast. I truly enjoyed myself there, even if it was only 3 days. It was long. Obviously, there's a lot of walking. There's a big difference though between Disneyland and Disney World. I'm sure Disney World has changed over the years, but that was a lot of walking, and we were there 5 days. Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, yes, a lot of walking, but still not so bad. I did want to say that when you are going to the different attractions, so like say I chased after the Disney princesses to try to get photos. Some of them are behind, like far away, so they don't have masks. But the closer you get to certain attraction or certain cast members and stuff like that and characters, some of them will have masks and so forth. So, you deal with that as well. I'm trying to think who I came about that had them, but not everybody, but some do. So that's something you want to take into consideration. But overall, again, the experience was pretty awesome. My sons enjoyed themselves. A few tips I want to talk about and things. Definitely, if it's available, go get yourself some lobster mac and cheese in New Orleans. So good. And the lobster roll as well. Definitely. I'm trying to think what else. I did pick up a shrimp po' boy, and that was also very, very good. But the lobster mac and cheese and the lobster roll, packed with lobster, minimal fillers, very, very good. We actually ordered that 2 days in a row and had to go back because everybody enjoyed it. So definitely something to look at and try. You can't go to Disney without a turkey leg and churros and beignets. So those are like all our favorite things to have. I also will tell you that if you've had a turkey leg at Universal Studios and a turkey leg at Disneyland, skip Universal unless you really, really want one and just go with Disneyland or Disney World. My Disney World turkey legs were huge, and Disneyland turkey legs were also huge, juicy, very succulent, very delicious. I love turkey legs. It's my favorite thing to get. But we went to Universal and it was half the size of the Disney one. So keep that in mind. If you go to Universal and you're thinking, oh my gosh, the Disney one isn't going to be that great because it's this. No, it is way bigger. So that's something you want to think about as well. But turkey legs, all the things, you guys. Definitely pick up all the things and just have a blast. We didn't do a hefty amount of shopping. I love collecting pins. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to say. I know this video is gonna be super long. That's one thing I wanted to say is that besides the trading post for pins, and your different pin selections in different shops and vendors and so forth, there were not as many trading pads as I've seen before. And a lot of people said it's because of COVID, so they don't bring it out. So you just kind of gotta look or ask. Go up to someone and be like, hey, you guys have pins to trade or anything like that? Now, mind you, I buy my pins. I don't trade them because a lot of them are year specific. So I still have my pins from Disney World, and I don't like to trade. So I found pins to add to my collection. Before we went on the trip, I watched Encanto, and it's probably one of my favorite Disney movies now. So I had to get me an Encanto pin and a number of different others. I'll try to put in some B-roll if I remember, but I got me a nice little collection of pins. Also, the boys all got lightsabers. I have a lightsaber, not like a Savi lightsaber or the other one from the other place. I got one of those that stretch out, the ones that you just pick in your things because, yeah. But my husband got a lightsaber, and my oldest son got them with the metal and everything like that. Those are really cool. If you want to get you a custom lightsaber that you make and enjoy the experience, you want to make sure that you book your reservation for Savi's workshop, or Savi's shop in your Disney app, because you're going to need that. You can't just walk in and do it. So just a note to the wise. We didn't have a lot of time, so my husband and my oldest went into the lightsaber shop and just chose out the ones for the different Jedi instead of building one with Savi, which is just as good. I think they're awesome. Really expensive, but definitely awesome and worth the experience. And yeah, so this is a really long video. I apologize for that, but I wanted to make sure that you guys knew what was available and what's out there. And yeah, I'm going to show you a few things that I did pick up so that you can keep an eye out for them. I did not pick up a lot of things. Like I said, I really wanted a spirit jersey, so I grabbed one of those, and I am absolutely in love with it. Iridescent, lavender, totally honey. Okay, I also got me a new lanyard, and I thought this is super cute. I think they're like Tsum Tsum. I'm not too sure, but you know, a lot of the characters are on here. The hubby bought me a shirt. Today is my new favorite day, which I absolutely love. I am a huge Winnie the Pooh fan, if you guys already know. Hello, honey. I got Sleepy Pooh, which is super soft and squishy, like my Squishmallows. So the husband got that. And then he got me 2 cups. So I have "You are braver than brave, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think" is one of my favorite quotes. And then I got the Beauty and the Beast thing. And look. So cute. It lights up. So, and then amongst a lot of different pins, which I'll try to do some B-roll in, but I wanted to definitely share that with you guys. So tell me in the comments below if you guys are planning a trip to go to Disneyland, or what your thoughts are on the process. Have you gone recently, and so forth. Definitely click the link down below. I'll have my blog post with more details on the different things. And I'm sorry this video is so long, but I definitely wanted to share with you guys. I hope you're all having an awesome, most wonderful day, having a fabulous start to 2022. And all the things. Don't forget, all my links to my social media will be listed down below. If you haven't already, definitely hit that subscribe button on your way out, the notification bell, ding ding, and give this video a thumbs up as well. Thanks so much for joining me, you guys. Oh, one more thing. If it's your birthday, don't forget to stop and pick up a birthday pin, because it is so cool to have everybody tell you happy birthday or sing you the birthday song. This is our birthday song. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye.